This is where we met, all four of them, as we were walking this beach this afternoon, and they invited us up to have something cold to drink.
My mother was one of the first school teachers over on Nabish Island, and she would snowshoe. She'd live with the families, and then she would snowshoe to school, to the one-room school. And this is her favorite people that she lived with on the island. This was their boat.
Nabish Island, that's the little one that's...
in the St.
South
Mary's.
of Sugar Island.
Yeah, okay.
And so when this lady got older and her family was gone, when I was in high school, she lived with us during the winter, and she was blind, and she'd had cancer, and she literally sat there and knit and all winter long and listened to hockey. And then when she passed away, she left the boat to my youngest brother, who just sold it to us last year because he wanted to keep it in the family. Yeah. So, this is called Salt Point because there was a salt barge that went down on its way to the
That's
Sioux.
why. I wondered why Salt Point.
So, and so we always thought that was the salt barge. But I was doing some research before these people came out, and it said that I put in Grants Creek and on the internet, and it said that it was a Canadian schooner that had gone down at the mouth of Grants Creek.
Oh, okay.
So then the people that are like documenting the wrecks, Richard, I went to high school with him, I can't think of his last name, but he's one of them. Anyways, he came out and he said that they actually think the salt barge is out past Rose Island there, that little island. But that this is that schooner. It's from the 1800s. It's a Canadian schooner, the York. But it's in two pieces, and if you go out there and dive in, you can stand on the bow and like.
Is that right? Yeah. So it's not very deep. It's not very.
How deep is it, Pat?
If you weren't standing on the bow, it would probably be out at that end.
About 12 feet.
I was going to say 15 feet at the bow, maybe.
Yeah. And their dad used to get up and go catch perch out there and bring them back for breakfast.
We've seen 8 shipwrecks that have washed ashore on our.
Have you?
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Big ones.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us a little bit, you two that spent your summers here as children, what this lake means to you.
Well, it's kind of for me, having moved away, having been gone about 35 years now. It's always kind of that place where I come back to and I feel grounded in a way. So we look forward now. We have, and my kids love coming up here, and now my grandkids love coming up here. So it's that whole family thing, and it hasn't changed all that much.
I mean, you've always said it. This is where it begins and ends for you. Yeah. Right here at Salt Point.
Well, when you live in Sault Ste. Marie and you grow up on the water, it's part of you. It really is.
It's hard to leave.
It's hard to leave, but it's not hard to leave for the winters. I spend enough winters here that I don't mind being gone when that's all frozen. But it's a joy to come back and enjoy it for the summer. And it's just it's a part of your life. It's just. And we've had some interesting times on that water.
I imagine.
Sure
oh, yeah.
And you guys you were saying, Pat, you just remember being out here pretty much all day long when you were little.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the rules as being don't cross a road and don't cross a creek. And that kind of confined us to the smaller creek that way and Grants Creek this way and then the road. And first thing we would do is cross a creek or cross the road and go do something else. But I think my mom thought we stuck with those boundaries, and within those boundaries, we probably were pretty safe. And I mean, when Chris and I were the older two, I'm sure she was busy with babies and younger siblings, so we were kind of on our own unless we did something really bad.
But she was out here all week and she couldn't swim.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It was amazing. She very seldom came down to the beach. But the one time we took this old boat out, Pat and I, to that sunken boat out there to go fishing because perch used to come in like crazy, and we were going out to catch some perch, and my dad would make our anchors out of coffee cans and cement, so they were round and they got stuck in the slats of the boat. Well, my mom walked down to the beach one time just in time to see him jumping in because our anchor was stuck. And she's kind of getting hysterical, and we're just trying to get free so we can come back in.
I'm just in swimming.
Yeah, it was no biggie to us, but she sure didn't like it.
Yeah. Was the water was pretty cold for most of the summer, wasn't it? Or is this bay pretty nice?
No, it's pretty. It's chilly
chilly.
yet this year, but
Yeah.
you go in almost every day.
Pat goes in almost every day.
Yeah.
I kind of paddle around at this time of the year. As I almost went in today. I had my floaty and I was ready when you guys came, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You said
It's
too.
always warmer when you're a kid.
Kids can stand so much. Selma, you were saying earlier how you could live here all year and how.
I could.
Growing up,
really, my dream would be to live on water and live here like Deb and Pat do down there. When I was little, we would always, my family would come as far as Monaco Lake, but I would come with Deb's family when I was like 3 or 4, and we'd go to down to Pendle's down here, or not Pendle's. What's down here?
Half a day.
Half a day. We'd be at half a day almost all day. So all these years, I stayed with somebody on a cabin down here. So I feel like I was always here, but I didn't know Pat until I was 15 or 12.
Just a couple
maybe.
year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you moved away and
Moved
got out of
away
the.
and came back. And I mean, if I had a pocket full of money, I would definitely build something to stay up here at least throughout part of the winter. And
Compare Lake Michigan, where you guys live, with Lake Superior.
there's no comparison. We don't even hardly ever go down to the lakefront in Milwaukee because it's, you know, the alewives. It's so warm, you know, the alewives and the smell sometimes from, you know, it's just such a difference. I mean, Milwaukee's a beautiful place, but this is like, even our
We bike
grandchildren.
along the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
some
it's
nice
nice.
parks there.
It's
Yeah.
nice to live by a big body of water. We lived like in the Piedmont section of South Carolina for a while, and I just was so sad not to be by water.
Yeah.
You know, fresh water.
Fresh water. That's what that's one of the reasons
It's
we're
about
walking
it.
around the
It
lake
is.
is
Yep.
to bring attention to that issue and
Yeah,
how we have such a limited resource.
we do.
We are so lucky. This is just such an amazing gift to all of us
It
to
is.
have this lake.
It
And
is.
then you look at things like this BP and some of the other things that go on.
Oh,
and
I
you
feel
say,
so
you know,
sorry for those people down there.
It's awful, but you know, we keep believing things like these mining, sulfide mining, and that they keep saying, "Oh, don't worry,
Oh yeah.
don't worry, we got it figured out."
Yeah, and the fish in Chicago that are jumping the barriers and going
Oh,
to get
yeah.
into the Great Lakes and
We met a fisherman yesterday who talked about those carp. He says if they come in here, we're all done.
yeah, absolutely.
When people say, "Well, what are you going to do next week?" I mean, everything we plan tomorrow's route,
Yeah.
and we'll think about then we know we're going to go to Sioux and see the kids, and then we'll piece it together. But it's
Yeah.
got to be day by day.
That's so cool. That's a good
So we
way to
meet
do
people
it.
along the way, and they say, "Well, you know, sometimes they'll say you can't go there," which some places along the route we can't, where the cliffs just drop right
Yeah.
down, and some will say, "Well, there's a trail here."